Let me now discuss why a Madrasa graduate has to spend 1 year in Tablig, okay, in Fisabilillah, whereas an ordinary person is, has to spend only 4 months. Okay, it it shouldn't it have been the other way around? It appears to be like that, right? A person might have been an ordinary person might have been in a very bad life, like he was not following Sunnah in his life, and he was not obeying any Islamic rules. Okay, he might have might not have been even praying Salah. So this type of guy, for the purpose of rectification and to become a good worker, he should spend a very long period, right? But for him, the suggestion is only 4 months. Whereas in the case of a person, say a madrasa boy who was obedient, always he used to pay heed to his teachers. Okay, he used to study a lot. He was following many different Islamic rules properly. Okay, so Sunnah, his dress up followed Sunnah. Okay, so nice a boy, and he learned all this ilm, Quran, Hadith, all this he learned, and after graduation, he should spend, okay, for the if it is 4 months for the ordinary person, for this guy it should be only maybe 4 days. Okay, and if it is not 4 days, at least one chilla, 40 days. It should be less than what is needed for the ordinary person, right? Okay, even if you say you think that, well, it shouldn't be less, then at least it should be equal, 4 months. But why it is longer? And it's not little longer, it's just 1 year. 1 year is not really 3 times of 4 months in this case, because if you spend 6 months in place of four, it would look like double. You go ahead and do that and check, right? If you want to spend 6 months, it would look like double of 4 months. If you spend 8 months, it would look like maybe 3 times. Okay, so he is actually spending a lot more time. What's the point? But he is a so nice person. What's the point? Do you have any explanation? Why didn't you try, try to think of this question? You should have got this question, right? Okay, let me answer you. These Madrasa folks are following the what has been introduced in the Middle Age, and it was the practice in the middle part. Okay, so the people definitely involved with the Madrasa activities were pious. Okay, and they are called Akabarin, who are on the at the forefront, or who are in the advanced level, are called Akabarins. So these people, these madrasa folks, are they are habituated with following what has been introduced and exercised by the Akabarins. So what the greatest mistake they have is that they consider these Akabarins as their followers, as their role models. For not followers, whom they follow, consider the role models. They are actually followers of the Akabarins. But nobody after Sahaba has been recognized as role model. It's only up to Sahaba radiallahu, right? Well, of course, a saint person or a devout person, as we were discussing right in the beginning of the whole discussion, if a pious person has something matching with of course, he may have even 80% or 90% or even 95% matching with Sahaba. So those things we can follow. actually not to follow him, but to follow Sahaba. But if he has 5% not complying with Sahaba, that 5% we are not supposed to follow. If we follow even that 5%, then we are following that Akabirin, not Sahaba. Right? And Akabirin is not declared as role model. Yeah. So they are not our. So what this the greatest problem of the Madrasa folks is that they become followers of the Akabirins. They become followers of the Akabirins. They also consider Sahabaradin role models, but they have Akabirins, okay, filling their mind. In their list, the top at the top they have Akabirins, whom to follow. At the second position is again Akabirin. At the third position is again Akabirin. Fourth again Akabirin. Sahaba is there, but maybe at number 10. Okay. For an ordinary guy, he doesn't have anyone in the list. Maybe he had some football player as his role model, but when he first steps in this effort, goes out fisabilillah, on the first day he realizes that he shouldn't be my role model. Okay, so he no longer considers him role model. But for the madrasa graduate, he has these people in the list of his role models, and it is very difficult to make a change in the list. In 4 months, almost nothing happens. Almost nothing happens in 4 months. In 1 year, the typical consequence is that the position of Sahaba moves from 10 to 2nd in the list. Usually, in my experience, as I found among the scholars who have completed 1 year, fisabilillah, typically or most commonly, they have Sahaba at the 2nd position. Okay, so that's a great achievement, though. From 10 it has been shifted to 2nd. Okay, well, I mean, these are just, to just give you a rough idea. It's not the exact numbers, these are not the exact numbers, to give an idea about what happens in reality. Okay, so but he still keeps Akabin at the top position. Sahaba is still next to them. Okay. But what should be the case? You please answer. What should happen? What should be our expectation? That he puts Sahaba at number 1 and then Akabarin at number 2, right? No, you are still not right. Think of it more. What should he achieve? Sahaba at number 1 and Akabarin? No. No. There will be nobody after Sahaba. Okay. Quran, Sunnah, Sahaba, and thereafter nobody. After Sahaba, nobody. Akabirins should not appear in the list of role models. Okay. They should just they should completely be removed from the list. Okay. So that even doesn't happen. I mean, maybe in 1 in 10,000 scholars who spend 1 year, it may happen that they can do that. Okay, this is why one of our elders, Lutfur Rahman in Kakrail, he suggested that the madrasa graduates should spend 3 years. 1 year is not sufficient. It doesn't help. you know. So compared to 4 months, they actually should have 3 years, because he had the experience that 1 year is not helping. Okay, makes sense. So, but anyway, if you ask people this question, why they are required to spend longer, 1 year, okay, the common answer is the answer that prevails is like uh, going, I mean, in the Madrasa force, they acquire some pride of ilm, vanity of ilm, and to remove the vanity, they need some extra additional time. Okay, but that's not the correct answer. It's not the answer from the elders. It's not. It's not the answer. It's just an answer made up and probably to pacify the scholars. But the real answer is what I have told you. But anyway, you should also think that why one should acquire vanity or pride. Okay, why one should be boastful after going through the studies in madrasa. He, if the madrasa is a good place, okay, why should he acquire vanity? Is vanity a good thing or bad? Okay, how bad is that? How bad is vanity? Can you tell me how bad is that?
Yes.
I mean,
Pride.
yeah, pride.
How
I mean,
bad it is?
taking in say see in the mainstream school, people go and acquire different bad qualities. Like even sometimes they take afim or something, cocaine or something. Okay. Now, if you compare taking cocaine and pride, which one is worse?
I prefer cocaine than pride.
Right, you're right. Because pride is in the list of bad things, it has the second position. It appears after shirk. Do you know?
Someone has it, Allah says definitely he will go
Yeah.
to
After shirk,
Jannah.
pride is the second bad thing. So how? I mean, how? Why a guy from madrasa, why guy will acquire this so bad a thing from madrasa? That could be another question actually. I mean, that answer should actually generate another question. Okay, that when, I mean, if you ask someone why a scholar needs to spend 1 year, when he answers that from his studies he got some vanity, and so to remove that, then you should, I mean, that should just add another question. How come in the madrasa he acquired this bad thing, so bad a thing? In fact, there's also, I mean, Mona Ilyas Rahmatullahi said that when someone does not acquire ilm in the proper way, it would actually, I mean, he would get the bad thing. I mean, he would get vanity. Okay, I'll go through that statement of Ilyas Rahmatullahi. Inshallah, I'll find that out and read it for you.
To answer that question.
No, that's a different thing. I have already answered you why the scholar needs to spend longer time, 1 year. That thing I have already answered.
The question which was not answered is how they are acquiring this pride and bad habit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's something I, I will answer. I can answer you now. The Sunnah method, okay, or the Sahaba, the method of Sahaba is divine, and so there is no side effect in that. Okay. On one side, it's most powerful. Like I gave you an example before, comparing pyramid and sun, right? Sun, which is made by Allah.
Did not take this example.
I didn't use. Okay. Then let me explain this thing in detail. Let's now compare the Sunnah method with any man-made method. Okay. If someone asks you whether pyramid is big or not, what would you say? It's big, right?
Yeah,
It's big.
seems to be
Twin towers, definitely big. But if I ask you which one is bigger, Twin Towers or Himalayas? Okay, probably the question now appears to be ridiculous, right? Okay, Twin Towers or Pyramid, if I compare them with Himalayas, okay, or some, mountains, it might, the question might look ridiculous because those are man-made big things, and Himalayas is
made.
Allah made big thing.
Created.
Yeah, if I compare Twin Towers with the Pacific Ocean, which one is bigger? Okay, it's a funny question. If I compare Twin Towers with the Sun, it's a funny question. Which one is bigger? That's a that's a big thing created by Allah. So the Sunnah method is divine. It's made by Allah. When you compare it with a man-made method, then the comparison is like that. The power, I mean, the Allah will do. There is assistance from Allah. Allah has the promise to give you. According to Kalima, Allah is the only giver, and to get from Allah what we are supposed to do, following the Sunnah. That is the divine method. That's the method of Sahaba. Okay, their amal, what they did, and the way they did. So when you compare it with any man-made method, well, the in, the impact will be definitely, I mean, the different, it will be, there will be gulf of difference in the impact.
Like helpful value 23 years
Right.
after 23 years of the revelation divine.
Yeah. So another one more important thing is that in the divine method there can't be any side effect. There will be only good impact with no negative impact, because it is made by Allah. So how can there be any negative impact? But see, like when someone is sick, the doctors prescribe some medicine, but this medicine that cures the disease or the patient feels better, but there is some side effect. Okay, maybe long term, there can be long term ill impact or something, but there is some side effect. But see, maybe there are some fruits or something. If the, say, some person got fever, so he eats pineapple or something, so that also cures his disease, but there is probably no side effect. Okay, so that's the comparison between man-made and divine method. The divine method, there can't be any side effect. You only get the benefit with no side effect. But when it is man-made, there will always be some side effect. It can cure, you get the benefit, but there is also side effect. So when you learn Quran and Sunnah, but not in the divine method, then you learn them, you acquire the knowledge, that's true. You also get benefit out of it. But you also get some undesired things like vanity or pride. Okay, so I mean, some side effects are unavoidable. I can now read that statement of Ilyas Rahmatullah. It's from his Malfujat, the statement number 182. Here he compares the two different methods to acquire ilm. First, he talks about the divine method that existed in the past, and thereafter he talks about the man-made method which was introduced later and which is prevailing now. So first he uses the present and the past tense to refer to the past, and he says that there was the method of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to acquire ilm, in which people used to acquire ilm as they worked together for it with talab, azmat and muhabbat. I mean eagerness, reverence and affection. And also they learned the lifestyle through following the lives. A feature of this method was that as the ilm developed through this method of effort, people used to have greater feeling of ignorance. Okay. Then he talks about the other method, the man-made method. Okay, and he uses the present tense here. That on the other hand, he says that at the present, the method to acquire ilm that has become prevailing has the outcome that the vanity or pride is acquired more than the amount of ilm acquired. And a boastful or proud person will not enter Jannah. Moreover, with the pride of ilm or with the feeling complacent about ilm, one loses the eagerness to acquire ilm, which actually stops further development of real ilm. Okay. So that's what the statement of Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi. And quite a few things we can actually note from this statement. First, he highlighted that the divine method existed before, and the prevailing method is different. So I mean, it's actually amendment method, okay, which is prevailing now. Secondly, we should also remember that Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi said the target of these efforts, I mean the Tablig efforts or whatever, the target of these efforts as the state with which Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam left. Okay, he used to say that the goal of this effort is to acquire the state of deen which Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam left with. Okay, so that means that the goal of this effort is to get back to the divine method of acquiring ilm. That's the target, to re-establish that early method, the divine method of acquiring ilm. And thirdly, his statement also highlights the side effect of man-made method to acquire ilm, and that is the vanity or pride. Okay, so the side effect is unavoidable. With the man-made method, it will be there anyway. Finally, one more point, that this statement is like an evidence that speaking up the problems of the man-made method of Talib was also the stance of Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi. So if the Tabligh workers today speak of the problems of this man-made method of Talib, by doing that they don't take a path different from the predecessors of this Tabligh effort, because Ilyas Rahmatullah himself had the same stance. Okay, so it's not like if we do that, we take a different path or we shift from the nihaj of our predecessors.